Hi everyone, good evening. And firstly, I want to start by thanking everyone for taking time out of their busy schedules to make this webinar session, which is designed to help you promote your club. I also want to take some time to thank everyone who signed up maybe earlier in the process of the session in filling out the short form that we sent out. Don't worry if you didn't see a form. We did send it out last week. It's just helped me greatly to tailor this session a little bit more and gauge whereabouts you are within your club in terms of promotion. So we have lots to get through. So these are the topics that we'll cover, just broadly breaking them down. So we're going to discuss how to create great content to connect and engage your members, highlighting your achievements on social media and tracking success. We're going to talk a little bit about paid ads. So we're going to use an example of how you can boost your posts to elevate awareness of your events. And we're going to touch on how to create your own marketing and promotional materials using a free software design platform called Canva, for those that don't know. So let's get started. So first, we're going to talk about creating great content to connect your membership. Things we're going to touch on within this segment is how you can start by the different ways, the different types of content that you can create, and how you can go on and use these as part of your wider strategy or vision to achieve your overarching goals and aims as a club or association. So bear with me, this might seem really mundane and obvious, but sometimes it's quite useful to take a step back before you get started and just start from the beginning. So these are sort of the different types of way that you can share content across your website and then link to, for example, your social media channels to share with relevant audiences. So we won't spend too much time. I'll let you read this for yourself. And obviously, a lot of these will come across as obvious. You can share via news stories, blogs, press releases. And one thing I will touch on is that blogs are a great way to kind of give an informal perspective of what's going on within your club. It's something that we've started to really champion and promote over the last year at BOF, and something that we feel really passionate about sort of helping clubs to continue to do. They're just so much more personable, in my opinion, in sort of reaching out to your members and prospective members, giving an overview of what's going on within your club, how you go about organising your events, and really bringing that realism to orienteering so that prospective members can resonate with that and connect with why they should join your club. So I'm going to give you some quick fire examples now of types of content based on those sort of categories. So news stories, you might have a news story announcing entries are open for your regional championships. You might be recruiting a new development officer. You might just be announcing that your next club night takes place this week as a reminder. Whereas with blogs, you might be doing a roundup of a winter series of events. So you might touch base with different organisers of those events, get some quotes from participants that have actually taken part in the events, and kind of bring that content all together in one place to give an overview of how things ran. I've included a couple of other examples. These are by no means real. They're just general examples. By no means is there a new club chair of West Cumberland Orienteering Club. I'm just giving them as a baseline example of the different types of content and how you can distribute them. So the next thing we're going to talk about is, once you've kind of aligned or got an idea of the type of content that you want to be sharing, you might want to do this beforehand to form a part of your strategy, and then think about how you're going to distribute relevant content out to your audience. A great way to do this is to create a SMART goals plan. This is where you set yourself specific goals. You consider how you're going to measure success. You set yourself achievable targets. You ensure you're staying relevant. So you're looking at the wider picture of what the club or association wants to achieve. And then you're giving yourself a deadline. So this, by no means, it looks very scary and very business-like and official, but actually having it down on paper and looking at those step-by-step guides is a great way to refer back to the wider perspective of what ways that you want to promote yourself as a club going forward. So to break this down, I've created an example of what you might include as a sample plan. I'm going to refer to point number 1. So in this case, the specific goal for said club is that they want to reach X amount of followers on their Facebook social media channel. How they're going to measure the success rate is through analytics. So they're going to track their monthly analytics to ensure that they're staying on the right path. So they'll assess things like reach, how many likes posts have got, and things like that. And we'll talk about analytics a little bit further down the line. What's achievable? So looking at this example, you will decide how many posts, for example, you think is viable to schedule per week. Obviously, this will depend on how many events perhaps you're running, what's going on at your club. So it might be 5 posts a week. It might be more than that. It might be less. But remember that you're keeping things realistic, because a lot of the time, a common factor that's come up is that there's time limitations and resource limitations within clubs. So just think about that when you're looking at the wider picture. And in terms of relevance, we're looking at the overarching goal, which is to increase awareness of the club and promote interest, the interest of prospective members. So the more reach that we gauge, the further we're sort of branching out. And through your analytics, you'll be able to see, when I show you a little bit later, how you can sort of tap into that. And then you set yourself your deadline. So in this case, I've put as an example, we're going to review where we are after 2 months. 2 months of tracking your analytics, exporting that data, you'll be able to see whether your posts and your content has grown or you've experienced a little bit of a dip. And the overarching aim of this whole entire sort of plan is to basically track where you're going right with things and where you might need to go back to the drawing board and assess a different approach that you might take to reaching your overarching goals. So there's a few other examples there. I've kept them quite broad. You can make them as specific as you like. It's generally just to give you an idea of how you can set yourself those targets. There's no limit to how many you should set yourself. Remember, keep it realistic. Sometimes less is more in terms of what you want to gain. So yeah, this is just an overall guide. We can help, and we have helped. We have tried to make a more proactive effort in the last few months of reaching out to clubs, specifically those in the sort of interim that are organising more major events, simply for the fact that we find that a lot more clubs are attending those events collectively. And these are generally written from the perspective of the organisers. However, we have had quotes from people that have attended the events, and we've obviously just started with our event spotlight for, I want to say, the middle of last year. We publish this on our website as a news story, a blog, and then we also publish it in our newsletter. Other examples of content that we've recently shared has been impact. So over here, the impact that Berkshire Orienteers had with the Beat the Streets campaign. So as you can see, more than 6,500 players took part, covering nearly 80,000 miles between them. So just opening an article on that is just fantastic to see those statistics and the impacts that they've made. And yes, obviously the most recent one, I think, is this news from Swansea Bay Orienteering Club, who have very excitedly secured a feature on S4C that is being aired on Tuesday, the 13th of February. So I encourage everyone, if they're able to watch that, to do so. It's very exciting. So as you can see, we are more than happy as an NGB to help you promote key things where possible. I will say that the onus is on clubs to provide this content, simply for the fact that there is so much going on within the orienteering community. It is impossible to keep track of absolutely everything. And moreover, we find that when things are written from the club's perspective, the greater the reach that it gets, because it's not written by us as an NGB, if that makes sense. We have our overarching news stories and information that goes out to our membership, announcements about squads and performance management. We want to showcase you from your words, from your perspective on how to reach out to other people and help you. Just be that platform that helps you step up and distribute that content. So send us your content and your images, and you'll have my email. Joe said that he would share it at the end of this webinar. So please do reach out to me. I'm more than happy to have a chat with you about how we can help and use us. So now I'm going to move on to how you can highlight your events via social media and track your success. So we're going to talk about the top platforms you have told us that you use to promote, share ideas on best practices, and how you can track the success rate of what you're actually posting. So again, I'm not going to spend too long on this slide. All I'm going to say is that it came out quite strong within the form, and I think collectively that the majority of clubs at least have a Facebook page, and that's the main channel that they use to distribute the majority of their content. A close second to that is probably Instagram, and I think that's been because our sport is very visual for obvious reasons, and we'll talk a little bit about imagery in the next slide and the importance of it and how it can work itself in promoting your club. But Facebook is definitely a strong favourite. So I've just put an overview of what you can do on the certain social media sites, and the difference between them. So on this slide, just to give you a brief overview. But I'm conscious that we have lots to get through, so you will have a copy of the presentation that you can go through in your own time. So yes, engaging your audience using powerful imagery. So imagery is extremely powerful when it comes to promoting our sport. It's a photo can speak 1,000 words. It's a very cheesy line. However, I've chosen this particular one because I find it empowering for a number of reasons. Firstly, it's all women, and we know collectively that within sport generally, participation rates for women might not necessarily be as great as they are for men. So I find it empowering for that reason. It portrays what our sport's about. So then they're competing, they're map reading, they've just set off ready for the course. And it also celebrates the different clubs that are involved at this particular event. So this was a more professional photo that was taken by one of our resident photographers, Rob Lyons, who we'll talk about in just a little bit. But I want to stress that in this day and age, you don't need to be a professional photographer to take a great photo. Most people will have access to a smartphone. Yes, it can be difficult when people are on the go. You can get a blurry image and things like that. So I would encourage you, if you have anyone that is dabbing in photography as a hobby, that you can sort of loop in within the club, or someone that's just doesn't necessarily participate in the sport, but likes to attend events and watch from the sidelines to take images, or take images after the event to celebrate, you know, the thrill of the course that you've just completed and the excitement on people's faces. Because those sorts of images, when you're putting them in front of prospective members, are the images that are going to connect to them and resonate with them of why it's such a great sport to be a part of. So it might be that it goes without saying, but again, going back to my original thinking of sometimes stripping things back, and looking at them from a different perspective is this is quite key. So and you'll be surprised at how quickly it takes to generate just a small kind of library of your own images that you can reuse for your promotional and marketing materials. But I wanted to give a shout out to two of our resident photographers in particular, who are Rob Lyons and Wendy Carlisle. I know there are a number of other photographers out in the field, and we are very grateful for their imagery, but these are the two that we regularly use their images. They are very consistently at events, and we just wanted to give you an idea of some of their images that they've taken for inspiration. So once in your own time, you can click and you'll be able to access their Flickr accounts. I spoke to Rob this morning. I'm not sure if he's managed to join the call, but he definitely said to me that people don't necessarily have to credit him, which is kind. But we do like to mention that it would be nice to credit their images, because obviously they do take out time, even if it's as a hobby, to attend events and take those great photos. And we're very indebted to them for that. Here's just some examples of some posts from our clubs. So as you can see, you've got RAF Orienteering, great photo included there. I believe that's on Instagram. And then I love this post from Swansea Bay Orienteering, because they've created, they've added hashtags in. And also these things down here are mentions. So you can see they've mentioned British Orienteering, Sport and Health Swansea, and the council. And they've got some great images there as well. This is a post by South Yorkshire Orienteers. They've actually added an event so that it's easy for their members and prospective members to find out more about when this event's taking place. And then we've got the smiling happy faces of the junior team who came fourth in the 2023 Peter Palmer relays. So again, great photo. Just shows the thrill of enjoyment of that success. Really important. So we've done all our posts, we've done our strategy, we've chosen our way that we're going to sort of schedule our posts out on our social media channels, and now we're thinking about how we're going to track this success. So this is an example of what analytics will look like if you're accessing via the Meta Business Suite for Facebook and Instagram. So I'm just going to try, hopefully it will link out. A little bit slow. I'm on Meta. Ignore this. It's because I'm linked in as British Orienteering from a personal account. But yes, so you'll go to here. Usually it says Meta. Let's decide not to do that. And you want to go to Insights. So if you follow the link, it will take you directly to the page that you want to be on. Should do for your club. If not, access via Meta Business and then Insights. So as you can see, here are some stats on Facebook and Instagram reach. You can modify stats that you want to see per month. So for example, I'm kind of in an odd place at the moment because I'm kind of tracking my stats from mid-December through to mid-January. Usually if I'm tracking stats, I'd like to do them month by month. So if I update that, gives me an overview of where we're at with our statistics for December. So you can see these are the results, how many visits we've had to our page and our Instagram profile. Quite nice to compare them. Note the export button. You can export these stats as an infographic, so as a PNG file, which is just a photo, or as a Excel spreadsheet, or as a PDF, if you wanted to. Save them on a month-by-month basis. New likes and follows, just general information on how those pages have done. If we go to audience, I really like this one. So if we go to audience, you can see how many followers we've got, and then there is a breakdown of demographics. So as you can see on Facebook, we're kind of halfway split. So we are 47.5% for women, 52.5% for men. Notice this one. See how this statistic leaps for Instagram. So this is where I'm sort of going with the thinking of using multiple channels, social media channels, to promote your content. The audience for Instagram, in this case, of this age bracket, is significantly higher for Instagram than it is for Facebook. And that's what my stats are telling me. You can find out top cities that you've reached. So we've got London, Edinburgh, Sheffield, Bristol, Birmingham, Leeds, Hong Kong. Interesting. Top countries. These are all the sort of the baseline stats. There's also a tab here that tells you about your potential audience. So this is where Meta put on their promotional hat and encourage you to create an ad, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And again, you'll be able to see some stats surrounding that, but we'll talk about ads in a little bit. Benchmarking, we haven't really explored this one, and it's really hard because we haven't actually set up a lot in ads ourselves to so much that we can compare this sort of thing, but we can go to businesses to watch, which is quite interesting. So you can see where we're positioned. Obviously this will look different for your club. We've got Scottish Orienteering and the RAF Orienteering Club. It also suggests potential businesses that we could add. A lot of them which are lodges, which could be relevant and could be appearing on our membership discounts page sometime soon, who knows. But yeah, it's just interesting to take a look at the in-depth insights when we're looking at this. And then you've got your content. So your content, you will see that unfortunately I can't tailor this for some reason. However, it gives an overview, the overview that I need and the overview that I expected, to be honest, as the original poster, that the reach is coming from links and also imagery, which makes me feel a lot better about the time I spend on designing social media cards. So it shows I'm on the right path. And then you've got your engagement. So breakdown of that. If you go into this tab for content, you can then remodify it so it goes back to tailoring that timeline for December, and then just check on this tab if you want to see which post has had the greatest reach, which it should come up eventually as this one, which was about sharing the news of our new talent squads. Apology, my computer's being very slow. Either that or Meta's being very slow, but it will pop up with more statistics when you click into the relative post. We'll leave that for now. If you come across here, you can see how much reach it's been shown. So yeah. So that is an overview of analytics with through Meta. And let me just come back to this. gone funny on me. Quick overview of how to track them through YouTube. I appreciate not many people use YouTube necessarily unless you're uploading videos. You can access your analytics via YouTube Studio. You can do exactly the same thing as I just showed you with Meta. So you can modify the time frame to see the insights that you want for your videos. And click advanced mode to get more in-depth information on key demographics. So I put a link in there so that you know exactly how to access your stats via YouTube. And then finally, I'm sure I've said Twitter 20,000 times and it's actually X now, and I'm still trying to get used to it. How to track your success through analytics using X. Not helpful that they still call it tweet activity. But yes, you can access that directly via X. So there'll be a tab on your mobile or on your desktop that says analytics, or just Google X analytics. And here you'll be able to see your engagement rates, modify your time frames where you want to track your activity, and see how you're going on that platform. So to summarize, analytics can look daunting. There's a lot of nitty-gritty ins and outs. We haven't even got to the posting your ads part yet, but they can provide a really invaluable insight into what content is actually attracting the most attention, and help you enable your future strategy when it comes to achieving your goals and objectives. We've been quite surprised by which content has had the most engagement, and we've tapped into that ourselves as well. So generally speaking, performance management related articles get a lot of reach. However, with the increase of blogs and the content provided by you and your clubs and your membership, we're getting some great results out of that as well, and some great engagement. So we are reaching out to beyond the realm of your region where your club is, and showcasing other clubs how it's possible to make their club a success. So we are now going to talk about paid ads. Now, I'm just going to start by saying that I can completely appreciate that certain clubs, associations, members may be in very different places. We've talked a lot about analytics. We've kind of shifted massively from a general overview of the different types of content, and now we're talking about demographics and things like that. So this is just an overall guide. I'm not going to show you today how to create a huge ad campaign, because I want you to be wary of the time, the resource and the investment that it takes to creating paid ads. I have also mentioned that we haven't delved into this world as progressively as we want to. It may be in the future, to help guide you on that. So what I'm going to show you today is how to boost your existing content. So you're kind of touching the surface of the world of paid social media advertising, and gauging how well it can work for you on a budget that will suit you, but hopefully you're getting something out of it. So I'm going to click here. We're going to come out of my presentation again. Oh dear. Very well. So we're back in, oh look, it says now Meta Business Suite. So we're back here, and we are now, so we were in Insights, we're now in Ads. So first thing I'm going to do is create an ad. It lets me. Okay, here we go. So it's automatically come up with this box. There are 3 options here. So there's automated ads. This will be more in tune with creating a whole ad campaign. or you can choose a goal. So you can get started with automated ads here, or boost existing content, which is what we're going to go through today. But if I scroll down here really briefly, A/B testing, just to be really give a brief overview, is we use it a lot for email campaigns. So for example, if you've got an idea for 2 titles, you can split an email campaign into those 2 different titles and send it to different groups of people and see which one gets the most clicks, to see how compelling your title was. In this case, it's going to choose 2 posts of existing content, and it's going to tell me, if I just open it, it might be able to tell me. So for example, this is an A/B test. So I'm going to choose 2 events. I'm going to choose JK. This is a previous post we've done on JK. And I'm going to choose Croeso simply because we posted about that today. And then I'm going to click next. It's me. It's not working very well for me today. No, we're going to have to come out of that. Here we go. So this will tell me this is what your ad would look like. And it's going to ad B showing up. It's not liking my thing. You'll be able to click into these things in theory and see the different ads that you're going to be posting out. However, whatever reason, here we go, ad 1. So this is ad 1. And it will show you how it will look. You go to Instagram, you can see how it look across all your channels. And then ad B. Is ad B going to work today? Can take a little bit of time to just get the preview. There it is. So there's Croeso. So it just shows you your previews. However, I'm now digressing from what I wanted to show you, which is how to boost an existing post. So I'm going to today boost Facebook content. And don't worry about the other things that you've seen, because when this opens, we'll be able to tailor the content accordingly when it opens. If it doesn't work out, then I can always send across a guide later down the line. Here we go. Right. So we're boosting existing content. So we're choosing Facebook. The content that we're going to choose to boost is going to choose our JK post. So you can scroll down, you can see all the recent content that you've posted about. This is the principle of this. So you've already written this. All you want to do is give it a boost. So we then click create ad. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. And then, so you've got here your goal. So Facebook will automatically set it as automatic. Irony. However, you can adapt this. So what's your overarching goal? Do you want to get more engagements? Do you want to get more likes to illustrate that, you know, you're getting more reach and you're ramping up morale for this event? You want to grow your customer base. You can use a form to collect contact information for potential customers. In this case, sorry, I would say we want to get more website visitors. So we want people to actually click to get to that page of JK for the entries, to make sure that they're clicking to get onto the site to find out more about how they can enter the competition. So I'm going to save that. I don't use this advantage and creative one, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. The next critical step is this little button down here. So you can see in the ad preview, it says book now. Unfortunately, I don't know how you adapt this. You can't manually adapt it. So it could say something like enter now, for example. So I'm going to put sign up because I think that's the next closest thing. And then the URL, we don't necessarily want it to link to our website. We want it to link to our neighboring website for JK. So I'm going to link it straight to the entries page, and I'm going to pop in that link there. You can already see, sorry, that's just popped up, the estimated daily results that Facebook has automatically calculated. This here is probably the best bit about the paid advertising thing, which I feel could really potentially help out clubs if they choose to go down this route. Your audience. I think I've already had a play around with this earlier. If you're not comfortable with starting off with direct targeting, you might just want to click one of these. So the people who like your page would be quite limiting. People who like your page and people similar to them, so these are people that have not necessarily liked Bok Orienteering Club's Facebook page, but they've got similar interests to other clubs within orienteering, and they might not know about your event, or people in your local area. But I would go for this one, which is targeting. So you can literally manipulate who you want to target in terms of your audience. If you want to target more women, you would click on women. We're going to keep gender neutral. The age, you can also manipulate. Note this box, if you do push it to this age 13 bracket, you may be limiting where your ads are displayed. So I'm going to keep it at 18. Up to 65 plus, but obviously you can drag and modify this. So say you wanted 18 to 40, you can do that. Locations. This isn't going to work for us because Tansley is a lovely but very small village. So we're going to put the UK in this instance. Here you can start to see how your audience is defined. So we've gone from broad to middle, which is quite good. We've not gone very specific, but yeah. So if you now save your audience, sorry, I think I've missed one of the, yes, sorry, I missed a tab. So after locations, you'll come to a tab which says detailed marketing. This is brilliant because you can literally click in here and type, for example, trail running. And it comes up with these options. You can type running sport, running club. You want to target running clubs, or you can browse and go by demographics. So I guess if you do it this way, the best one would be to go into fitness and wellness, for example, and you'll get things like physical exercise, fitness, running sport. But your best bet is to maybe start with that and then go back in and type your keywords and see what comes up. So let's try, orienteering. My mountain bike orienteering comes up. Orienteering as an interest comes up. These random things come up, so we'll just stick with orienteering, and then we'll scroll down. Let's do that weird thing. So yeah, you'll see all our little things there, and then you'll click save audience, and you'll see that it's adapted the estimated daily results. You can manually select your start date. So I would start this campaign on a Sunday. I want to start it at 10 a.m. And I am going to, that's when it's going to end. Budget. So thanks, Meta. You've put my budget as £42 for an ad that's going to run 7 days. You don't have to start that big. That's what they've recommended. I think the lowest that they go before you get a warning saying your ad might not reach enough places is £12 in this instance. So you might consider budgeting for £14, or you can just ignore their recommendation and start here. You see, when I go to £5, it starts flashing red as if the world's going to end. But it's up to you. It's up to you. It's your investment. It's your goals. If you're confident and that you can do well based on the groups that you've collected, or you just have the finances available to test the waters, then if it's a major event of yours for your club, go for it. It's completely up to you. And then you can select here, obviously Facebook and Instagram are linked via Meta, so you can click whichever ones you want to unclick. If you just want to promote on Facebook, that's fine. I just select no meta pixel here, and then you'll add your payment details down here, which we're not going to do. And then make sure you're happy again with your previews. Click on your previews. Oh, they're going to take ages. They just don't like loading for us. Oh, there we go. There's Instagram. Instagram's pulled through. So yeah, you can see that it automatically comes up as a sponsored ad now. So you might have seen a lot of those. That's as a story. So yeah, that's how you can boost an existing post. And then when you click schedule, it's not going to let me schedule because I haven't paid them any money. It will remind you that you need to pay some money. And it will come up within your advertising summary once it's scheduled, and you'll be able to track your reach and your post engagements within this tab. So let's talk about the pros and cons really quickly. Is it worth it? So it's quite a vast world. It's a very can be quite a pernickety process in setting up an ad. I know because I've tested them, and it can be quite time consuming. But let's start with the pros anyway. If successful, you can increase awareness of your club. With that detail, that level of detail within your target marketing, there is every prospect that you could potentially attract potential new interest in orienteering and your club collectively, or at least people to come and try out your events. There's no reason to say that that can't be a possibility. Moreover, you have the ability now with this target marketing to reach groups that you might not have necessarily thought about, that you might welcome to come and try events out as part of your club. You can target key demographic groups. We've already discussed that, and new locations to expand reach. So obviously I put the United Kingdom, but say you're based in Birmingham and you're considering reaching out to areas like Burton-on-Trent, for example, or Lichfield. You can manipulate that, and I've shown you how to do that within your ad campaign. The cons are it takes time and resource. You have to be careful with your budgeting because it involves a cost. Weigh up which particular campaign thing you're going to be promoting. Is it an event? Is it something to do with new membership for your club? Just be mindful that it does involve a cost. It can, like anything on Facebook, on social media collectively, prompt non-favorable publicity. So just be mindful of that. as well. And it can be difficult to measure success. So I showed you where you would see your statistics, but actually translating the reach that you get with your ads, if it's not kind of getting to the point where you're getting more higher participation rates, you might think, well, what am I doing here? So it can be difficult to ascertain long-term success. But that's not to say it's not something to explore yourselves and see how it goes. So I've created some more useful links because we can spend a long time, probably an entire session, talking about paid ads. And we've only touched on Facebook and Instagram ones. So I've attached some more information via some links onto how to create ads for specific channels. And do feel free to look over these in your own time. This is the last slide. So we're drawing to an end of our presentation. And I just wanted to touch on how you can use Canva, which is an online free design tool, to create your own promotional and marketing materials. A lot of the responses within our form stated that people hadn't previously used Canva. So we have touched on this in a previous webinar, and I have provided the link to the overarching tutorial that Kay Hawke did probably around this time last year now. So that link is within this, but I just want to show you how easy it is to kind of use it and what it actually is for people that don't know. So Canva's a free online graphic design tool. You can create your posters, your social media cards, you can resize images within there if you need to. Basically, it's a great place to do all your promotional and marketing materials in one place. You can use available templates, or you can that are provided when you sign up and get a free account, or you can incorporate your own branded ones in. So you could literally upload your club or association's logo, the core colors that you use within that logo, and then every single time you create a new social media card or a poster, that branding can then be applied to a template. And once you're done, all you need to do is download your designs. You can download them as images, so as JPEGs or PNGs, as PDFs to present as flyers or within meetings, share about, or PowerPoints. So this presentation was actually brought to you by Canva. I spend most of my life living in InDesign these days. So it was actually quite nice to come back to Canva and use this just to throw together a presentation for you all. So I'm going to use an example from that. A lovely lady called Jules Hanvey created this. She no longer works with us, which is very sad. I've just deleted the wrong thing that I didn't want to delete. Bear with me. Automatically get rid of that so I have more space on my screen. Yes, we need this. Right. So this is an example of last year's British Sprint and Trello Championships. This is what Jules created. So you can see all these little boxes. These are just copied and pasted from your documents folder, basically. So if I wanted to update the logo for I can literally just click in here, copy and paste the image, and then throw it in here, and you can just, oh, no. And you can just make it bigger or smaller, just modify it. That's how easy it is to literally copy and paste stuff. Implement your own logos, your own colors, backgrounds. use this tab here. You can search things. So recently used ones, I've been searching for bullet points, which is not exciting in the slightest. But obviously as part of my presentation, but you can see where I've searched for recent things, interactive buttons, all these sort of things. These are obviously great if you're producing for digital purposes, less so if you're using things like that in print for flyers. But yes, it's really easy to use, and I'm just going to show you once you're done. You can see that she's created a whole series, I like to call them, of images. You can duplicate pages to make it easier to modify just text, or you can add a new page. But once you're done, all you need to do is go to File, Download, and then select the format that you want to download. So you can download videos, GIFs, JPEGs, PNGs. PNGs are best for your photos, and digital print in general. So yes, and then just select whichever page you want to download down here. So we've got 8 pages within this. You might just want to do one. Click done, download, really quick. And there it is. It's ready to save to your desktop or just add to your social media channel, website, wherever you want. These ones I think were created for Facebook and Twitter. But if I go home to my home, this is what the home page looks like. And I go to templates. You can automatically create an Instagram post. It resizes it for you and everything. You don't have to do anything. Here's templates that you can use. Like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time on this one because Kay very kindly did a presentation on this time last year, and from what I know, not much has changed on Canva since then. So that provides a great overview of everything you need to know. Just click on here once we share the slides and you'll be able to access from the 25-minute mark. So that concludes my presentation. I want to thank you all for listening and open the floor for any questions. I'm going to stop presenting now, I think, and hand it back to Joe.
Hello. Thank you so much, Alex, for that wonderfully informative presentation. I now know more about Facebook ads than I ever thought I would in my life, and now I will never forget that either. And I'll never let you forget that either. At this point, I'm going to, as Alex said, open the floor for any questions. So if anybody would like to ask a question, you can put it in the chat section where you said your hellos before. I'll also keep an eye if anybody does put this in the Q&A section as well. So please feel free to do that. You're also welcome to raise your hand and we can call upon you for a question. But just to start off, we had one slightly earlier on, which was from Alison Howe, which was, where do you publish a blog?
So the best place is obviously to publish it on your website. If you have one, I think most clubs have a website and they publish at least news stories on there. You don't have to have a whole blog feature. You can just tailor it to say that it is a blog, if that makes sense. So when you're selling it in your social media post, you can say in this blog, which is exactly what we do at the moment, in this blog, and notify your readers that this is written from the perspective of a club member, and highlight it that way. So we usually publish on our website, and then link to the website directly from our social media posts. I did forget to mention one thing in terms of sharing your content. There are, for those that don't know, lots of short link generators out there. So we use tinyurl, and I think I don't know how you pronounce it, but I think it's Owly. There's loads of them, and what they do is create short links. So if you are limited, I know X is definitely bad for this. It makes it really difficult to compressed links, and they have a word limit on content, so that could help you out when linking.
Excellent. I think we've all tried to paste a link from Google that's come out about a mile long, so that's definitely a helpful way. The next question is coming from Walter, and that is, could you please just recap what you found to be the most engaging type of content aside from blogs, or which are the most engaging type of photos?
So I touched on performance management. So I think when I was looking at the stats a while ago, sorry, part of this presentation, I literally got a chance to fully review how we did in December again, because now we're obviously in the middle of January, and those statistics on announcing our squads did phenomenally well across all our social media channels. And it's just great to see, but it also illustrated that putting names to faces, and okay, in this instance, it was the athletes, it is the athletes, but putting some names to faces of who actually works behind the scenes of your clubs. And I'm thinking now of more on the volunteer engagement side and club member engagement side. It really resonates with your audience, and we're all very busy, and it's nice to take a step back sometimes and actually recognize the people that work behind the scenes, if that makes sense. But those are the sort of key bits of content that have done really well outside of blogs, which I think was what you mentioned. So yes, I'm just looking at that. Generally, we're quite steady with content. We did really well on our post about membership benefits that we've recently published. Again, just having them written down on our website, we wanted to try something different to see if that increased morale in terms of what our members know about us as an NGB. So we're still testing things out and trying things out new. So yeah.
Excellent. And just checking, when you said performance management, do you mean you mean, just clarify, those performance related posts? That's the rather than
Yes.
performance management.
So it was the squad announcement. So it was the performance squad announcement, the development squad announcement for 2024, and the talent squad announcement. And bear in mind, for the talent squad, we only had that list to go by. We didn't have necessarily the photos of each and every individual athlete that wonderfully got picked for the talent squad. So just even seeing that table, just people went wild for it, because it's almost like a placard of people's recognition, isn't it, of there they are within our club, which is fantastic. And it's really good to see that our athletes are getting that recognition.
Absolutely agree. Just quickly, Jeanette's asked a question about consent of people in the images. I know that the answer to that question, if you click on the Q&A tab, somebody else asked that question and Kay put in a response and just a link to the policy that we have about that. That's something that I can pop a link into in the email that'll go out tomorrow as well, just now we've had a couple of questions about it. So for the next question, we have Ian asking, should you have different social media sites for members and for the general public?
You might have to expand on that question. Do you mean different social media sites within your club? If you're there still.
So I suppose it could be the difference between, being able to share things around, sort of club committees versus, what goes out on the more public forum. Oh,
yeah, so you could, for example, have so I know some clubs have groups, and you have to, I know particularly with Facebook now, you can set it up so that you have to fill out a form for you to be entitled to give further information about before you become a member of that group. So it's kind of more of a process. You don't just automatically like the page necessarily and then you're admitted. So you can set it up so that you have more control, if that makes sense, of what information is accessed within that group and what's shared. Other examples of things we've done before, obviously, we have our core British Orienteering Instagram profile, and then we have the Find Your Way project Instagram profile. Said again with the Facebook, so the same for that. So you can create multiple accounts that are tied in with that. Again, I would be wary of the time management aspect and the resource. If you have the resource, by all means, push forward with that. Tapping in from different areas of engagement, that's fantastic. But just be a bit wary about keeping on top of updating people, because I think there is a danger, and we've even found this, that if you don't post as much, those pages just become very stagnant, and then people just lose interest, and it's quite difficult to get them back in, unless you kind of do a whole rehaul of the page. So that's just something to bear in mind. But yes, you can certainly do that.
Brilliant. And we have an extra question from Andy, which is, can you give a couple of best practice examples of clubs who've used social media to affect their newcomer participation in a big way? He mentions that Lakeland Orienteering Club are doing good things with this space, but just if you have any others that you could highlight.
Yeah, so I would look at profiles such as South Yorkshire Orienteers. I think I've included a couple of the posts from Swansea Bay Orienteering Club. They've just released, they're just so proactive on Instagram. DVOC have done some great stuff in terms of introductory sessions. Have a look at Derwent Valley Orienteers. There's a whole multitude of clubs that you can follow, and I would encourage, if you do decide, for example, you haven't got an Instagram profile and you're thinking after this, okay, I could do this. We could post once a month on Instagram a photo, and just copy and paste any content we share on Facebook within the body of text. Let's give it a try. Have a look at our followers on our page, because you'll be able to follow, potentially seek some of the clubs out that are already on Instagram, and get that kind of rolling base going. But there's some great clubs with examples. There's so many that sometimes when you're scrolling, especially for us, through the feed, it's like, wow, they're doing this, they're doing that, and it's amazing to see how far certain clubs have progressed. And social media is free. It's a free marketing tool. Obviously, we've talked about paid ads, but it's probably one of the best things that has been invented in terms of easy promotion. So I do encourage people to use it. Yes, I've looked into TikTok. We are in the process of sort of reviewing how we put together reels or videos, which I did mention in the slide. But TikTok is one of those things that we want to tap into. But if you do go on TikTok and you search orienteering, there's quite it's a market that can definitely be broken. we could break into it. It's just the time and the resource. So we need to kind of think about how we align our ducks within a row in creating those sort of TikToks. But we do appreciate that a lot of clubs already create reels on Instagram, with highlights from their events, snippets of videos and things like that. So if you feel confident enough to make a start and try TikTok out, please by all means do, and then share with us your success and how you've got on with it. Yeah.
Excellent. Sounds like Walter's just gained himself a little homework assignment along the way from this session. I think at the moment I can't see any more questions in the chat, so I'll put out a sort of a last call for any more questions. If anybody does wake up once again in the middle of the night thinking that they've got to ask something, then you will have the opportunity to in the feedback form, but also I'll quickly pop in the email addresses, just a little bit of extra information for this session. So that includes now, which I'm putting in the chat, email addresses of Alex, myself, Howard, and also where you can find all the development conference session links, which is the page on our website. And I'll have to post that in a quick second because it's decided to appear absolutely massive in that box. So I'll shrink it down a little bit. If we don't have any more questions, then I'm happy to wrap up here. So thank you all again for taking the time out this evening to attend the session. Thank you so much to Alex for all the hard work that's gone into this session. I know there's been plenty of planning, pre-planning, and getting everything together, and it's been a really, really good and informative session. So the next session that you can look forward to in the development conference is tomorrow, and that is Hilary Palmer taking us through how to engage newcomers and get them hooked. You can see that and all the other sessions in the link put into the chat, and you'll receive a link, well, a big email with a good few links in there, but the YouTube video for this should be uploaded either somewhat late tomorrow night or Wednesday morning at this point. Besides that and all the other admin along the side, then I think we can say, yep, thank you once again to Alex, and have a good evening, everybody. Thank you very much.